Hey quesadilla-coolcoo, I'm going to show you the easiest way to play fast riding patterns on the hi-hats and the ride cymbal, such as 16th notes, and to avoid thumb pain and wrist pain and forearm fatigue and a whole bunch of other common drummer problems. So without further ado, let's get started. This first part is pretty important, but also kind of strange. Just warning you. So here we go. Begin by just doing this. It's only the middle finger. And I'm holding my middle finger in this comfortable position while the stick just sits on the fingertip. And the back end of the stick is sitting on my pinky muscle. And it's just a very simple thing. And the stick is just kind of balancing on it. I can kind of make it do that. It feels kind of precarious. So let's do this. It's very, very important to feel this and to understand it. This is like the heart of where all the magic happens with this grip approach that I'm teaching you. This might feel like, this will never work, but I'm just showing you one little tiny thing that is the very beginning. And once you are able to do this, or let's just use this to kind of understand something about the stick. And to do that, let's move on to the next step and then we'll talk about that. So the next step is just relax your thumb and index finger. Just let them drop down. Keep your middle finger held in that position. And yes, we will deal with the ring and pinky fingers a little bit later here, but just keep the middle finger like that and just let the thumb and index finger just drop down so that it's nice and relaxed and it looks just like this. Okay, so with this, you can do a little backward twitch at the wrist or backward flick or whatever you want to call it, and the stick will just go up and then drop back down. Just let the stick move however it's going to move. Let it balance on the middle finger while you hold the middle finger in that position. And I should clarify, don't do this with the middle finger. And don't extend it too far. And just, keep it comfortable. And now it's a good time to talk about what I was going to talk about with the stick. Let's just move around on the stick. We don't need the surface, but let's just feel how the stick balances on the middle finger. And it's pivoting gently and freely against the thumb pad. And the index finger is just hanging out. It's just sitting there. It's just along for the ride. If I grip between the index and thumb, but you're going to find a sweet spot. It's called the optimal balance point. And every stick model has its own unique location of this optimal balance point, give or take a few millimeters or even up to like a centimeter. And its location is determined by a combination of three things: the diameter of the stick, the length of it, and the kind of taper the stick has. And once you find it, stay there. Try to stay there. And just, know how it feels. This is where you get the best efficiency of motion out of the stick and the most help from rebound. So, yeah, and you can find the precise location if you're careful, and it's a good idea to do that because then you will get the best possible results out of this grip approach. It's more work to play from back here, and it's because there's less, the efficiency of motion is reduced to kind of a minimum back here, and you don't really get much help from rebound at all. So all your surfaces that have rebound can feel more like, I don't know, a workout practice pad instead of a nice bouncy one. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of different things to compare that to. So pillows, maybe. I don't know. So anyway, So yeah, get comfortable with this. It's the most important aspect of this grip. Just here, between the thumb and the middle finger pretty much, if you want to see it that way. And while you're doing this, I want you to understand something by feeling it. And this is going to be kind of interesting, I think. So just let it, you know, pop up and then drop back down. Or just keep it going if you can. You see that? See how it's just kind of balancing on the middle finger? And then just letting the stick move is pretty much all I'm doing. Look at how much look at how much motion I'm getting out of the stick with this small. So yeah, you're beginning to see how this is working. So now, keep it going and then involve your index finger in the grip. It doesn't have to be super tight, just gentle. Just enough to keep a grip on the stick and then let go. Keep your middle finger held in position when you've got it relaxed, otherwise it'll just fall apart. So yeah, if it's falling apart on you and the thumb is coming off and it's doing that, then your middle finger is too relaxed. Yeah, you can be too relaxed. I know the most common advice out there is to relax your hands all the way. That's not good advice, believe it or not. Yeah, that one hit me recently and I'm just still kind of blown away by it. I used to say, just relax your hands and you're good, because that's how it feels to me. But no, it's not true. I'll prove it. But for now, keep your ring and pinky fingers out of it because we're focused on the most important part of the grip. So, and compare how it feels. Index finger and thumb. And then back to just balancing only on the middle finger. Index finger and thumb. See how much heavier the stick feels? How much more difficult it is to make it move? Back to the stick doing half the work. Index finger and thumb. Okay, that's probably enough. You can do it on the pad too. You can see the difference with the index finger. It kind of looks like I'm intentionally like pointing my index finger, but it's just what it does. I can't help it. So if you ever see drummers where it looks like their index fingers are pointing the whole time, it's because they're using this grip approach. All right, so using this little thing, holding your middle finger in position so that it doesn't fall apart on you at all times. It's very important to hold the fingers in position. And make sure you're still at the optimal balance point. Oh, by the way, if you have Vic Firth sticks, or if you don't, but you may try them in the future or something, I want to show something to you. It's very cool, I think. And also, it's kind of nice for you to see this in this video as well. You can see the exact location of the optimal balance point on any Vic Firth stick model by where the flag is. In fact, the precise location, right down to like the millimeter, is where the black rectangle meets the stripes. At least that's the colors on this stick, but that center spot. And interestingly, you would think that the best place for the middle finger is on the optimal balance point of the stick, like that, right? But no, strangely enough, maybe a physics expert can explain this to me, but I don't care as long as it works. That's all that matters, but this feels like I'm too far away from the butt end of the stick. I don't know why. That's the way it is. So when I blindly look for it with my eyes closed, I always end up in the same exact spot. And that spot is where the thumb is precisely located on the optimal balance point with the center of my thumb pad on the precise location of the optimal balance point. Like that. Crazy. Yeah. So look where the middle finger is in relation to the optimal balance point. See, this is why I was trying to let you, this is why I wanted to show you this little cool thing that Vic Firth does. So you can see where the balance point is on this stick in relation to the location of my middle finger. Crazy. I never would have guessed that, like I said, I would have said, oh, no, it should be there. But no, it's weird. I don't know why. Okay. So, Every once in a while, you might see me look at my stick real quick to see if my thumb is in this position in relation to the H on the Vic Firth logo. That's just what I'm doing, in case you ever see me do something like that real quick. Okay, anyway. So if you don't have Vic Firth sticks, it's okay. You don't have to like mark your stick or anything. It doesn't mean like you're wrong if you're not at the optimal balance point. So when this video is over, you can do whatever you want, but just know that it's gonna be more work from back here. Yes, you'll have more reach, but it's far better here. And so, yeah. All right. So I would assume that you're reasonably comfortable with this at the moment. Before we move on to including the ring and pinky fingers, I want to show something to you. Don't ever forget this. This is a cool method of doing this thing. It's a method of doing the buzz roll. And it's also a way to show the importance of the middle finger. See if you can get this to happen on a bouncy surface, like a good bouncy practice pad or your snare drum. See, the middle finger is like kind of stiff, but it's not pressed against the stick because, you know, it needs to move freely. It's a very relaxed thing. It seems to make my thumb get stiff. It seems to make my index fingers stiffen up a little bit. My ring and pinky fingers seem to want to go up higher. I don't know why. You may have seen drummers play this way. This is not good technique, but, you know, like not buzzing, but like just hitting stuff. You may have seen them do like this. This is not good technique because this is minimum efficiency for how everything works. Maximum effort, minimum stick control. Yeah. But they do it because this is... I don't know. I don't know why. What am I doing? Trying to say why they do it. Anyway, so... if you can get this to happen, that's good. This is the buzz. This is half of the buzz roll. So it's a much easier way to get the buzz roll to occur. Well, for me, it's the old way. Sometimes I like to say it's the traditional way, but I don't like to use the word traditional because that starts getting confused with matched and traditional grip, you see? So, so we'll just say this is the normal way. Whatever, it's the tighter way. It's the way with more tension. Now the index finger, now the index finger's fingertip is doing that thing that the middle finger was just doing, but it's tighter. It's not as comfortable. And with the grip approach, as you will see when we involve the ring and pinky fingers, it's just a simple go back and forth between buzz roll grip and everything else grip. So yes, let's complete the grip after, okay. Complete the grip just like this. Just try to line up just the fingertips, if you can. I can't really do it so well in my left hand. It's more like, it's like it's almost like the pinky is too short, but it's just the pinky muscle not being able to reach over as far in my left hand. So I can't line the fingertips up so easily in my left hand like this. So if you can't do it, if you're really trying but you can't do it, don't worry. The effort is important. The effort helps. I have discovered in my left hand that a lot of problems have been solved by just making this effort at the very least. I'll try to show you. So, okay, let me see if I can try. Yeah. But just making that effort with the pinky and the ring finger, but especially the pinky, really helps things tremendously. I'm not going to demonstrate because my left hand is kind of stiff from holding the phone for so long here, but yeah, I've been at this for a little bit of time here. This is not the first take. But anyway, so just do this with your fingers, just like that. Just put them in and hold your fingers in that position. Don't let them be loose and limp and like a dead fish or something. You know what I mean? Don't be like that. Just try to get all 3 fingers in there. Just make the effort and try to hold them there, especially that pinky. Keep the thumb and index finger just touching the stick, just so that the stick can still move freely. And keep your thumb on the optimal balance point so that it feels good, all right? It should look like this inside there. So not like this, just like this. Not too extended, oh, just so that the fingertips are there for the stick. And let the index and the thumb relax onto the stick. And hold your back 3 fingers in position, again, especially the pinky. And so without those 2 fingers added in, the stick can just, it has no limit. This is going to be difficult at first if you try this. This is actually an exercise. But so you can see, without those 2 fingers, it's just unlimited, except for when it hits right there, like bonk. So with those 2 fingers, I got stick control. I'm not controlling the stick with those fingers, but I'm preventing the stick from doing things I don't really want it to do. Like, I want it to hit once, not without those 2 fingers, not like this. Wait. I kind of instinctively prevented it from bouncing a lot with my middle finger unintentionally. I unintentionally prevented it. I wanted to do, but with those 2 fingers in, held in position, I'm not changing anything else. But yet, the stick still goes up and down and it just moves freely, and I don't need rebound to benefit from this grip approach. I'm not even going to use my leg. I can just use the air. So all 3 fingers with the grip complete, I get all this motion. Oh, I'm a little bit further away from the balance point than I wanted to be. Well, I don't want to be away from it. So this is like playing, I don't know, a fast writing pattern on the hi-hats. You can see it as fast 8th notes, 16th notes, slower 30-second notes, whatever. Doesn't matter. It's just it's that. And with the fingers held in position, the back 3 fingers, and it's just moving freely. Like I said, it's like this, not like this. So it's open inside there. You can see all the way to the practice pad or all the way to the floor through my hand there. It's not closed up. So with it like this, though, in combination with the molar technique, with a relaxed arm, it's very important to stay relaxed. The mantra can be elbows down and in. Elbows down and in. Elbows down and in means that the elbows point down to the floor and your arms are relaxed enough that the elbows just sit there. You don't press them against your side. You could, in order to like check to see if you're doing it. And if you have something that you're kind of reaching for in your setup to either side, do this. This will sound kind of strange at first, maybe, but put your arms out like you're about to hug someone, and then look at your elbows. Look at your upper arms. Look at how relaxed they are. They're hanging down from the shoulders. So even when you're reaching for something, even if it's something in front of you, you want the elbows to just be pointing down as much as possible. Let your upper arms be relaxed so that the upper arms always kind of hang down to the elbows. I mean, when you reach directly to the side, I have to move my cable here. How can I get this in the shot here? And I turn so I can an American grip position. The elbow points a little bit away from straight down, but it's better than, let's see, it's better than that with the upper arm. It's better than that. So try to do this for a while, even without a stick. And then do it like that. Far easier. So apply that concept to everywhere in the kit, even the hi-hats and the ride cymbal. Well, that would be like a really far away ride cymbal. But you know, anywhere. The snare drum, the toms, the crash cymbals, whatever. Yeah. So wait, hi-hat cymbals would be directly above my foot, so right about there. Nice relaxed arm. Hopefully. But a lot of this, especially for this air drumming thing I'm doing, happens here. I'm not sure why. Even though these fingers are here, it's kind of focused here. Oops, balance point. But yeah, it's the stick is still able to move freely. Just want to point that out as much as I can, as often as I can. It's very important. But so I'm not like, I don't know how to put that, but it's like I could take those fingers off the stick and get similar results, but then the effort goes up. So by having those fingers even just in position, the ring and pinky, it increases the efficiency of the wrist, of how it functions. It's an interesting thing to me. So I could just kind of do this. I'm going to sound like I'm having a hard time because I'm bending backward to keep my mouth further away from the microphone while I do this. It's an awkward feeling. But, you know, I can just kind of do this all day. It's not that hard because the efficiency of how everything works here is maximized. I'm at the optimal balance point. The stick is working for me. I'm getting all this motion that's in the shot right now, kind of, I don't know, for free. I'm not really having to do, it's kind of similar to just air drumming. Except, of course, it's not exactly the same amount of effort because when the stick is in my hand, there's some added mass to the workload. How do I put this? But it's not the same as the amount that would be added by gripping tighter. So the most common grip I see today is the result of the advice of just loosening your hands up all the way. I'm kind of jumping ahead of myself here, but is this. Thumb off the stick, and it's just kind of like in there, just flopping around. And if I do it like this, even though the stick is kind of moving freely in there, and it's going to create blisters, but even though the stick is moving freely, it's still more effort. So this is forcing me to squeeze a little tighter than I was just a moment ago when I started up with this thing just now, because I don't want to lose the stick. But now it's forcing me to begin only holding between the thumb and the index finger while these fingers are sort of not even really doing very much. So it's almost becoming like this wraparound thing. I can almost take those fingers off and get the same results in how it feels and how it works, but yeah, it just becomes this difficult thing that can create problems. But if you're getting thumb and wrist pain, then you might be gripping between the thumb and the index finger like this, where the thumb is right on the stick instead of like that or something. So, but that's still a problem. I mean, as you've noticed, it's unpleasant, and I agree. I've been there. That's why I do this now. I found this grip approach as taught by Dave Weckl in his video called "How to Develop Technique." But I teach it my way, and he teaches it his, and he was taught by Freddie Gruber. Now I'm getting off on a tangent here, but I'll explain this stuff later if you want. But for now, let's just get back to this so I don't get in a 5 minute thing talking about nothing that has about talking about stuff that has nothing to do with the lesson here. So anyway, this is grip between the index and thumb, and now it's like I can make the molar technique motion, but now it's the stick feels heavier because now I'm involved with more of the mass of the stick, so it's more work for my wrist. So the faster and faster I go, this is like a simulation of the hi-hats because the hi-hats have very little rebound. Probably about the same as a leg. I don't know. So this is an index and thumb grip right now to sort of hopefully simulate your grip. Or if it's like that, it's almost the same result. Ow. That's the other problem with that kind of a grip approach. The sticks are more damaging, which can break cymbals, and the sticks can break prematurely. They should be able to last so long that the taper area gets worn down to like a really thin single diameter thing where there's no taper left. Or like it goes like it gets worn down so much as no taper, no taper, no taper. Oh, stick. Well, not that far, but it'll eventually break. It gets so thin here, it should be able to, at least with the right technique. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. It should break right around there because that's already the thinnest part. So when it gets worn down, enough, it'll break right there. And with this grip approach, the sticks can last that long, at least in an acoustic kit. With an E kit, they can last forever. Before I switched to this stick model, this is kind of funny to me. I had Vic Firth 5A in this room for practicing on my other pad that I used to have for close to 20 years. You should have seen those sticks. The logo where my hand was usually touching was completely gone, and it had a slight discoloration from sweating, and tons of like these little black marks from the snare stand when I had the pad. It was in the original HQ percussion real feel pad, and I used to stick it in the snare stand with the arms like sticking up, like the one was here and like one was here and one was here. You could just see the arms. They're black and they're rubber, and sometimes I'd hit them. And then I got to a point where I turned the snare stand 180 degrees, and I had the rubber arms sticking out here and here on that pad because it didn't have this hoop simulator, and so I was simulating cross stick. Those sticks were completely undamaged for that long because of this grip approach. That's what I took the long route to say, that one simple thing, that the sticks actually lasted that long. And believe me, I've had sessions in here where I just really let loose on that pad, just beat the crap out of it to work the muscles and just to, be ready for just about any kind of playing situation that I might end up in. And also just because I can get carried away just banging on the practice pad and improvising and whatnot. So a single pair of sticks with an E kit can last forever. That's the whole freaking point. Sorry, I took the scenic route to get there. But with an acoustic, sticks will break eventually, but they shouldn't break before the taper gets worn down, unless the wood had like a natural defect in it, which can happen. Okay, sorry, went off for 5 minutes there. So forgot where I was before I went off on all that stuff. So So I'm just trying to think of what I want to say next. Just kind of forgetting about the idea of trying to figure out where I was. I'm just going to kind of start fresh. So I think it's important for me to explain the efficiency thing with the back three fingers. So when I'm doing this with all three fingers in place, lined up as best I can get them, and just held in place. And again, I'm not holding between the index and thumb. Stick is just, if I loosen up a little bit more, or open up a little bit more rather, this is what's actually happening at a smaller scale. This is actually, what I'm doing is actually identical to the physics of dribbling a basketball. It bounces up, I allow it to, and then I push it back down. So the only time I interact with the mass of the stick is when I push it back down. So anyway, so I'm getting maximum efficiency out of my wrist. And if I did this for a couple more minutes, and then if I took the pinky off after that and kept going for another couple minutes, I would feel, and you can do that, go for like a minute or two or three or whatever with all three fingers with this grip complete, just wrist. Then go for a few minutes or maybe a minute or two or three. Sorry, bad pronunciation of two. What happened there? I don't know. So go down to this, just ring and middle finger. And you might not feel it immediately, but there is a reduction in the efficiency, which increases the effort, and it decreases the stick control a little bit. So pinky is off, and now I'm going to pretend a minute or two or three has passed, and now I'm down to just the middle finger, and then I'm going to probably immediately feel at this point that the effort has gone up even further because the efficiency has gone down, the stick control has been like almost completely minimized, and if I take the middle finger off and leave just the index and thumb, something, in my opinion, interesting happens. In my opinion, again, I just want to make sure I think I buried the "in my opinion" phrase in that sentence, so I had to repeat it. Okay, so middle finger is going to go away, and you'll see it. It's pretty obvious. I'll do that again. It wasn't so smooth. I was thinking about it too much. I'm so sorry. I screwed that up, but it's kind of the same thing. I'm going to try to get it settled in, and okay, now, okay, look at it, and now, oops, I didn't show that angle yet, but familiar, isn't it? Wasn't I showing this a little bit earlier? It was more like this, but it's pretty similar. I don't know what that means, but I just think it's interesting that taking away the middle finger, finally, from the middle finger fulcrum thing I'm teaching you, forced this, the wraparound thing. I had no choice because the back three fingers at the fingertips they have a specific role. They provide a specific benefit, and whatever speed your wrist is capable of, that's what you'll get. If you go as fast as you can, actually, you can go faster without the stick. So if your maximum speed is, I don't know what it is, but then it'll be slightly slower when the stick is in your hand, but not significantly slower because of the grip approach, how it works. It just doesn't add as much workload. That I said that already. I'm sorry. All right, so crap. What was I saying? What was I saying? When I finally removed the middle finger, which still had the benefit of its fingertip in that held position, the index finger was forced into doing that job all by itself. It had to wrap around to get the fingertip in there to do the um, to help the wrist to make the physics work or something. And now I'm back to being able to show you this, which is in relative terms. In relative terms, this is more work than the middle finger fulcrum. So doing a buzz roll, it's easier to be gentle with a buzz roll. It's easier to get a soft buzz roll and still be smooth, and to control it, to be able to feel the beat. So yeah, so many benefits to this grip approach. It's just, it blows me away, even to this day. Okay, so there's one other thing I haven't shown yet. It's when doing the molar technique. I don't know if you have any interest in playing softer stuff, but let's say, well, maybe not soft things, but like, let's say I'm doing something where I don't want this seemingly natural accent. What do? I try to stop using my wrist as much as possible anyway. And what happens, I have discovered, is the fingers go from this position to like more open, but still held in a position with the stick at the fingertips. So when just looking at it, it can look like the fingers are just hanging down loosely, but they're held in that position, which minimizes the efficiency of the wrist, makes it very easy to have a nice gentle wrist stroke so that I don't get an accent. I can get one in that position, but it's not as easy, and it's so this is really helpful for a lot of different things, but I'll just tell you when I discovered that this is going on. It was when I was trying to figure out how I was able to get a more even sounding single stroke roll or hand to hand triplets. Left, right. Okay, I can't even do it that fast with my mouth, but yeah. So like hand to hand stuff without that accent in there somewhere. I was trying to analyze how that was possible. I thought I was just completely relaxed, but then I discovered the fingers were being held in this position. So I realized, well, it's something I have to point out. Because if you see it happening, yeah, it's cool. Because it's okay. It's fine. Some things will have to happen, including this. So, like, if you're doing a single stroke roll, and you want just the most even sounding single stroke roll so that it can sound something like what you might get with pure finger control. I'll teach this in a minute. No accent, right? Imagine that between the hands, left, right, left, right, left, etc. So there's like no accent with that, but you can get it with the wrists. You just have to, you can't get it perfect, but it can be simulated where the accent is so subtle that it's it's good enough. And I like it. I do finger control sometimes too, but I'm not like a finger control master, but I can teach it. So I may have to move on to that next because I'm bringing it up, but I want to get the molar technique out of the way because that's part of the question, I believe, at least in my opinion. So I just want to make sure to point this out because now I can't remember if I did. I probably did. So if I did, please forgive me. But it's quite important. So the molar technique requires that the arms be relaxed. elbows down and in. And it's just a simple throwing motion. So don't make a point of trying to think about the Moeller technique in a special way. So if you know how to throw something, then it's the same thing. You just throw like down most of the time. And of course, doing it over and over and over, you get this. And you can yeah, from this perspective, it doesn't look quite correct, but it's because it's an unusual perspective. Most videos of people doing stuff is from out front, or like from the out front somewhere, the side or the direct front or whatever, or even like straight overhead, but somewhat from the front at the same time. Never really from the player's perspective. Like, have you ever seen someone doing something with the GoPro sitting on their chest, right underneath their chin? Their arms look like they're just not doing things normally. It looks weird, right? It's the perspective. But believe me, I'm just doing a simple throwing motion. My arm is nice and relaxed. The effort to one of the benefits of the Moeller technique is to make things easy. I could just do this all day. Well, not literally. So I could probably just sit here and have a conversation with someone, and I don't know, my hand might get kind of warm. My forearm is not going to feel anything at all. My wrist won't feel much. The stick is doing a lot of this for me. It's really just the same physics as dribbling a basketball. And now it's, I don't know, not the basketball dribbling physics. It's just, the stick just moving all on its own. I'm letting it move. And again, it's mostly in here for some reason. So anyway, but it's still important to have all three fingers in position. For some reason, having the muscles engaged, especially with the pinky, help the wrist do its thing with the best efficiency and the least amount of effort because of that. So accenting can become a pleasure, even though I'm really trying very hard to make the accents. I don't know why. I just am. Well, a part of the problem is there's no acoustic feedback to tell me how hard I'm actually hitting, like how loud it would actually be on an acoustic instrument. But anyway. I'm just thinking about accents too much now. It's like, being too aware of what you're saying, and then you start stumbling on your words. I just stumbled on the accent there. Shoot. But you get the idea. When something is easy to do, it's more fun, right? So. Oh, and so like playing, I don't know, one of the most common questions I've ever seen fast 16th notes is playing Everlong, by the Foo Fighters, yes. And it's so much easier to do that song with this grip approach that you can like do that song 20 times in a row and then just walk away going, no, that was nothing. Seriously, it just can be that easy. So yeah, you might wonder why this isn't more common, but I don't know. It's just gonna. I think it's only been being taught. I think we drummers have only been aware of this grip approach since, I don't know, maybe, huh, I'm going to guess. Probably since like maybe the 70s, as early as the 70s, maybe the late 60s, when music started requiring more, you know, instead of like, um, and, you know, drummers had to, some drummers probably had naturally discovered this, and it kind of got taught a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And I think after a few generations, though, and, you know, maybe in 100 or 200 years, it's going to be more commonly known. But, you know, stuff like this takes a long time, especially when only a tiny fraction of the percentage of the population on the planet is aware of it. And, you know, so, all right, enough weird stuff. Moving on. So, yeah, the Moeller technique, just a simple throwing motion. And with this grip approach, the Moeller technique is made far easier. So you can do your stuff with lots of joy. All right, so then the next thing that I was going to show is when you want to use the index finger. And that, to start with, I guess, is for finger control. I'm going to transition from this to finger control and back, and let's go back and forth so you can watch it at first. I lost my comfort. I'm trying to focus too much on the composition of the shot. But anyway, what I'm doing is just simply turning my hand, and then in my mind, I'm doing this with my fingers. That's not an easy shot to get right now. Did not adjust the grip on my left hand. So it's just a gentle hold between the index and thumb. One more time down here. And then from my perspective, in case you're wondering why my legs are over this way, it's to allow the stick to move freely. But yeah, so, and then it's very different. It becomes something completely different. And when I stop, and then I do this, because my index finger was relaxed, it just went back to that pointing like position. So all four fingers are pretty much, I'm trying to think about this really hard here. I'm certainly not squeezing the stick, because this is what that looks like. Because I have rebound, I can just relax. It's the same as dribbling a basketball. It's kind of upside down, but you can also see this as like an upside down teeter-totter, where the thumb is like the fulcrum, just upside down. You can see how much it makes this, you can see how much this makes my thumb move because it's relaxed. My thumb is relaxed, therefore it's being moved by the motion of the stick. It's like a I don't know, it's like Jello. But I'm not really holding between the index and thumb. It's just that it's okay to, you know, not do finger control where the index finger stays there. You know, allow, it's okay. You know, that's just the way it works. Unless you hold between the index and thumb, then the index will stay on the opposite side of the stick instead of like that. So, focusing on all these like 3 or 4 different things at the same time here. And another cool thing about this approach to finger control, which not really a special approach, it's just I've seen people try to do finger control this way. It's just so inefficient. It's ridiculous. I mean, I haven't even worked that hard on finger control, yet I can do it far easier than I can with this. And I can control the accents fairly well. And I did that about a minute ago. A very subtle accent, but let's see here. I think my fingers are starting to beg for mercy. Yeah, this is not the first. Like I said, it's not the first take that I've done with this video, so. But yeah, there's a very subtle accent, and as you can kind of tell, I kind of was favoring triplets. If you could hear that, I don't know if it came across, but. So I'm just trying to show that I'm not using my arm motion to help. I'm bobbing my head and moving my body so I can feel the beat, but okay, anyway. Yeah, so it's a very simple thing. Fingertips, and also the grip doesn't change, you know? Like I said, I'm just turning my hand. And since my thumb and the stick are together, not like that, it's nothing. It's just. But yeah, there's muscle memory involved and some muscle strength, I guess, that I've worked on just naturally over the years. I don't think I've ever really spent time doing this, but I've done a lot of stuff where it just. Trying to pull up some of my muscle memories, but I'm on the spot. Like, oh, what were they again? You know, like riding patterns. Okay, so, yeah, so, there we go. I think I have covered everything. Yeah, 53 minutes in. Okay, 54. Yeah, I probably covered everything and probably too much just to answer a question about 16th notes on the hi-hats. But all this stuff is very important because it'll benefit you quite a bit. And I don't know. I don't know. I'm just rambling. All right, then. I'm sure I'm going to think of something after I stop this video. But you will know if I did because I will have made a supplemental video just to say, oh, hey, I forgot that thing that is so important. How could I forget it? Trying to make sure I remember anything that is like that right now. But really, at the end of the day, this could be a 5-minute video, but you know, I want you to be able to troubleshoot any problems that might come along. So I have to show you all these things, and then more, because some things lead to other things as well. But yeah, if you have any questions though, if anything comes up that you can't solve on your own with this thing, just let me know. It's no big deal, you know? Ain't no thing. Oh man, I've been awake too long. I'm getting a little weird. Weirder than usual. All right, so yeah, I'm tempted to show some exercises that'll help with this. Oh, there is one thing I forgot, and it's not a big deal, but when I said exercises, it reminded me of this thing. Just go back to this, and what I should have said before I talked about completing the grip toward the beginning of the video, relatively speaking, is this part of the grip, I kind of said it, but this part of the grip has to be strong. So it's important to work on your power with this part of the grip. Just don't perform this way. Just practice this way. You know, don't take up your entire practice sessions with this, but you know, spend some good time every day physically exercising your strength to get I went too far. Ow. There. Even with finger control, yes. Which I've kind of surprised myself, actually, recently, that I can do this, but it makes sense because I'm kind of using a similar approach. So yeah, the middle finger it's very, very important. Oh, and one more thing. When I talked about the sticks being more damaging, I forgot to say, try this. So just use this grip approach, kind of play your leg, right? As you do, right? We all do that. And then maybe grip between the index and thumb somewhat tight, I guess. And you might feel a difference. Maybe, maybe not. I do. Also, I forgot to point something out that I always enjoy the fact that Dave Weckl points it out. The sound of every acoustic instrument that you ever play with this grip approach can be at its best because the stick just simply bounces off of it instead of in the extreme slow motion with a tighter grip that doesn't let the stick move so freely. It stays there for just like a millisecond. And so it sort of does some simultaneous muting at the same time. But with this grip approach, it doesn't do that. It just bounces off and lets the instrument speak. And I'm remembering one more thing I should show you. But today, and for today's playing, it's going to be sort of like, yeah, I'll never do that. But in case you ever need to play quietly, or if you're playing a song that has a really cool quiet section, but if you ever need to just tap, then you need the index finger and the thumb to be holding the stick ever so gently, just enough to give yourself some control. So it's the only thing that changes. So it's from this to that. That's it. Just the index finger comes in, and you hold just enough to give yourself control for light taps. You need that. That's like an exception, and you need it for the control so that you can easily choose, regardless of your stick height, almost, how lightly you tap. Okay, I'm missing some of these hits. But with the grip approach, with the middle finger fulcrum, I used to always call it that, but I'm trying to avoid calling it that because it is a middle finger fulcrum. But with the stick moving so freely, right, it's not as easy to make it just tap really, really lightly. You have to really try to figure that out. Like, how am I going to get this thing to tap lightly? Especially like with this grip approach with the middle finger fulcrum. It's like well, it's more mental effort and a little bit more physical effort to get it to tap quietly. You have to almost you have to prevent the stick from moving so freely, so that it's not just falling and dropping onto the head or the instrument that you're hitting. So index and finger doesn't have to be tight, just okay. So yeah. And sometimes you might find yourself in a situation like in a practice room or at a gig where for some reason the venue hired a full band with a drummer. This happened to me once. They shouldn't have done it. We didn't know. We just went and played there and they're like, "You're too loud." And it turned out, yeah, that was a mistake. They were learning, They didn't know either. And they never hired a band with a drummer ever again. Well, except for like maybe jazz bands, but I didn't know how to play quietly back then. And I was kind of shocked by how difficult it can be to just tap and still be able to do all the stuff that I want to do. So mastering this can save your life, kind of, in a sense. I saw a drummer at this place locally doing stuff. Man, that blew me away. We were like 5 feet away from the stage. No, God, 5 feet away from the drummer. The stage was small. The club was small. And we're just watching this band cook. But the drummer was just tapping. Real light stuff. But he was just cooking. I'm like, how's he doing this? Yep. He was using that grip for his, to his advantage. That was the cable on my... In case you're like, what's on your hand? That was my cable casting a shadow. Can't... There it is. It caught my attention. I'm like, what's on my hand? What is that? All right. Anyway, enough rambling. This is an hour and 2 minutes long now. Sorry. Shoot. All right, then. Yeah, I bet you didn't see this coming. I didn't see it coming. I thought it was going to be a 20-minute video, but... All right, then. Well, I sincerely hope this will help. I think I am confident enough to say I guarantee that it will. So I'll leave you with that. And like I was going to say before, if you have any questions at all, doesn't matter. Just let me know. I'm here for you. And that'll do it. All right, my friend. Enjoy. Catch you later.